Well, we're just a couple of days away. Well, actually, make that a day away from Exorcist the Believer. I'm about to review the two prequels. Yeah, back to back review. But is one really that bad? And one of them being an okay one? Well, let's just get into it. Here's a back to back review of Exorcist the Beginning and Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. So, greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Dual, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a back to back review of the 2004 supernatural horror flick Exorcist the Beginning and the 2005 supernatural horror flick Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist. Both released by Warner Bros. Originally for Morgan Creek, and they serve as prequel to The Exorcist. Now, before I get into this, I'm going to talk about just a little bit of the stories of each one, but not all of them, all of the story, okay? Now, first, they released Exorcist the Beginning in August of 2004. It was directed by Rennie Harlin, who, of course, recently did Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master, Die Hard 2, Cliffhanger, and Deep Blue Sea, which this and the other prequel starred Stellan Skarsgaard, who also appeared in Deep Blue Sea. Now, let's start with Exorcist the Beginning. It was retooled from Paul Schrader's already completed Dominion prequel to The Exorcist, which the folks at Morgan Creek feared would be unsuccessful. Well, the film got dissed, obviously, and well, Schrader was subsequently allowed to release his version, which came out the following year. Now then, the story starts in the age of the Crusades, where an injured priest wanders through the aftermath of a bloody and desolate battlefield. He comes across an impaled soldier in his death throes, holding a Pazuzu head pendant. The priest looks around him and sees hundreds of crusaders crucified upside down across the desert. In Cairo, Egypt, in 1949, a young Father Lancaster Merrin struggles with his shattered faith. Well, he is haunted by an incident in a small village in the occupied Netherlands during World War II, where he served as a parish priest. Which that's actually what starts out Dominion. But again, let me start with this one first thing. Well, near the end of the war, a sadistic Nazi SS commander, in retaliation for the murder of a German trooper, forced Merrin to participate in arbitrary executions in order to save a full village from slaughter. Merrin is approached by a collector of antiquities named Semelier, who invites him to come to a British excavation in a valley called Darati in the Turkana region of British Kenya. The dig excavates a Christian Byzantine era church built circa 500 AD, long before Christianity had reached that region of Africa. Semelier asks Merrin to recover an ancient relic of a demon thought to be in the church. Before the British can find it, he agrees and travels to the dig site, and he is joined by Father Francis. And upon arriving at the site with their translator and guide Shuma, Merrin meets the chief excavator, a British man named Jeffries with visible boils on his face, and Sarah Novak, a doctor. In addition, Merrin learns that the diggers are disappearing or leaving in droves because the local tribesmen fear the church is cursed, and Merrin witnesses a digger inexplicably experience a seizure. And well, once they arrive at the dig site, they find the dome is uncovered and the rest of the church is buried beneath the earth. Well, they soon encounter some really scary stuff in Miami, and some real scary stuff happens as well. But anyway, I'm going to try not to give too Again, I'm not going to give the whole story away because if you got the guts and Gloria to see it's not, then well, you're more than welcome to. But don't say I didn't warn you. Now, when this film was released, it went on to make 78 million here in the U.S. It did better in the U.S. and Canada, making 41 million and 36 in other territories. Unfortunately, on Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds this at a very dismal 10%. That's just close to as low as Exorcist 2 The Heretic is. But hey, I'd rather watch this over Exorcist 2 any day. But hey, don't get mad at me, okay? Well, they say it's a mediocre, gory horror film, nowhere near the quality of the 1973 original. Yes, I agree and what have you. It's alright, but it isn't great, though. No. Now, the author and screenwriter of The Exorcist, William Peter Blatty, said that watching this film was his most humiliating professional experience, especially after what he saw in number 2, if you saw my review of it. On the other hand, Blatty said that Dominion is a handsome, classy, elegant piece of work. Well, I'll get to that in a moment. Roger Ebert said he's seen both versions and much prefer Schrader's, and yet it must be said that Harlan did not prostitute himself in his version. Now, it was also nominated for a couple Razzies for Worst Director and Worst Remake or Sequel, but lost to 2 other titles from Warner Brothers. Of course, for the Worst Director, it went to Catwoman, and for Worst Remake or Sequel, it went to Scooby-Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed. But hey, that's understandable. But now, overall, well, like I said, it's alright and what have you, but again, not great though. I'd rather you not watch this film. I'd say maybe just skip it, or if you're curious, a one-time watch. Now, the score for the film was done by Trevor Rabin, which was pretty decent. Our cast includes Stellan Skarsgaard playing the young Father Merrin. He did pretty good. Isabella Scorupco played Sarah Novak. She was good. James Darcy played Father Francis. Ralph Brown played the character of Sergeant Major, and Julian Wadham played Major Granville. And Ben Cross played Familiar. And there's others and what have you. So the cast isn't, well, completely bad, completely. I just wish this could have been better. But however, the following year, Warner and Morgan Creek allowed Paul Schrader's Exorcist prequel, Dominion, prequel to The Exorcist, to come out. Now, it got released in May of 2000, on May 20th, 2005. Though despite it still got bad reviews, got dissed and what have you, and it didn't do too well at the box office, considering it was, well, only in a limited release, however. This was the official prequel to The Exorcist before it was retooled to turn into Exorcist Beginning. While the film was not well received by critics, although it received better reviews than Exorcist Beginning, and I do agree with them. But let's start out and what have you. The story starts out with 1944 when Kessel, that's the Nazi SS lieutenant, he forces the parish priest of a small village in occupied Holland, who happened to be Father Merrin, to participate in arbitrary executions in retaliation for the murder of a German trooper in exchange for sparing the village. Now, of course, in 1947, Merrin, whose faith was shattered by the incident, is an archaeologist in Durrani, a remote area in the Turkana region of British Kenya, excavating a Byzantine church built around the 5th century. Well, and you know the rest and what have you. Now, however, he and Father Francis, along with Major Granville, they oversee the dig of this and make their way to the ride with Shuma, Merrin's translator and guide. And he introduces Francis to Rachel, a doctor, and a Mekwi, an enthusiastic convert, who provides accommodation for the 2 men. As they tour the dig site, Mary and Francis notice the church is in perfect condition, as though it had been deliberately buried immediately after its construction was completed. And then Mary meets a disabled young outcast named Cheche. Although dissuaded by Chuma, Marion brings the boy to Rachel for medical treatment. Once the door is uncovered, Marion, Francis, and Chuma go inside the church, and a hidden passageway leads them to a crypt containing a demonic idol, an ancient sanctuary where human sacrifice was performed. Marion deduces that the church was expressly built to seal this underground temple. And on their way back, they are confronted by local elders who demand Marion stop digging. Well, apparently, things do take a turn for the worse. As a as soon Francis contacts Granville to send a detachment to guard the dig against potential robbers despite Mary's objections. And two British soldiers attempting to loot some precious stones from the church are then found dead the next day, one without his head and the other crucified to the altar head downward. Despite the Christian symbolism used in the murders and the testimony of local warrior Jomo that the two men were affected by his strange madness, Granville, blaming the Turkana, goes to town in uncharacteristic fit of rage, demanding the purported culprits be given up, shooting a young woman in cold blood when the locals protest. Determined to stop the Christian evil from spreading, Jomo breaks into the mission school and slaughters the students, including one of Emequi's sons, before he is shot on the spot by the British soldiers. Well, Francis has a disturbing realization that Chechi's unusual recovery is not a divinely wrought miracle as he had first thought, and considers baptizing him to save his soul. Well, the boy accepts on the condition that it be held at the church. But however, it really turns into a real shock. And Francis later on, as he's dying later on, reveals to Marion that Chechi is possessed and begs him to perform an exorcism. Anyway, that's all the story I'm going to give to you on that. But anyway, from what I've seen of this film, now some of it was kind of odd and a little freaky in some parts, especially with those those burning red eyes we see of Cheche's. Well, once we see him possessed and what have you. Now we have again Stellan Skarsgaard playing the same role as Father Merrin. Gabriel Mann played Father Francis. He wasn't too bad. Clara Beller played Rachel. Billy Crawford played Cheche. Julia Wadham, of course, played Major Granville. And Ralph Brown played Sergeant Major Harris. And Israel Adoramo played Jomo. And Andrew French played Chuma. Anyway, yeah. The cast wasn't bad. At least I'm going to say that despite the film didn't quite do so well because it was only in limited release, it made $251,000 in the US. Now, the film sits at 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, and say whereas Exorcist at the beginning holds a rating of 20%. So its reviews were much better in my, but still not that great. William Peter Blatty, as I've mentioned earlier, said this film was a handsome, classy, elegant piece of work. And Roger Ebert said, it does something risky and daring in this time of jaded horror movies. It takes evil seriously. Variety wrote that the film is intelligent and quietly subversive, and Schrader has delivered a 100% Paul Schrader film drenched in the spiritual and moral angst that watermarked his career from Taxi Driver, which he was a writer, to Autofocus, which he recently directed before this. Anyway, and Entertainment Weekly said Schrader's film is a notch better than Harlan's, but when you boil out the demon feathers, it's the same damn movie. Well, it is in ways, yes. Anyway, I am going to say that this was a little better in my view. I don't really consider it to be great though, but at least it was a better improvement over Exorcist to begin. So I would recommend you to watch. So I'd say give this one a one-time watch. If and if you're into that, then just skip Exorcist to begin and go with this one. Unless you're a hardcore completionist, then watch them. So that's all I can tell you. And they did have Trevor Rabin do the score, plus a little help from Angelo Badalamenti. So that's all I can tell you on that. So, which of these films did you think was the best? Did you like Exorcist the beginning, or did you like Dominion prequel to The Exorcist? Tell me which one you like the best, and you can tell me why if you wish. Leave that leave your answers for me in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Now, I'm a little late in giving this to you. Now, I was going to give you the TV log of Frey's Nightmares next, but since I'm late on this, I am going to reschedule Frey's Nightmares, and it'll be coming out on Friday afternoon, which I was going to review Pet Sematary Bloodlines, which I am going to review on Saturday night, which is the day I was going to do Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey. So next time you will get a spoiler-free review of Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, which I recently watched on Peacock. So you'll get that next. So anyway, tell me, which of these two Exorcist prequels did you think was better? I'd say Dominion was a little better. So, but you be the judge. Let me know in the comment section below. And stay tuned for the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey spoiler-free review coming up. And again, Frey's Nightmares will be coming up on Friday. So if you like this, consider checking out the other Exorcist films that I've already reviewed. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of the original from 1973. The upper right-hand corner is my review of Exorcist 2, The Heretic. And the bottom left-hand corner is my review of The Exorcist 3. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching, and I wish The Exorcist Believer the best of luck when it comes out. So until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.